Alright, I don't even know if I could stand after the meal I just had. Here we are with Chris, one of the food and beverage managers of the Moshulu, which is the boat we're on. First of all, I got to tell you, number one, since you're a food manager, I'm a very picky eater, so we order 3 courses, and every course I ask for, I change it up a little bit, because I don't like blue cheese or certain things. You guys were spot on. It was amazing. Julie, back me up.
It was amazing.
So, really amazing. And now off camera you told me, this boat has been through a lot. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the ship was actually built in 1904.
Really?
Yes, it was built in Scotland, and throughout the early 1900s, it was involved in the grain trade. So it carried grain, iron ore, lumber, nitrate from Western Europe all the way around to the Americas, around to Mexico, and all the way over to Australia. After the early 1900s, about 1915, when World War I began, it was laid up in Astoria, Oregon, and it was confiscated by the United States Navy.
Really?
In World War I until about 1919. Then after that, it entered back into the grain trade, but this is at a time where a lot of the steamers were coming along and everything else, so it was basically a dying ship in the trade. So it was purchased by a private owner in the late 20s, around 1925 or so, and it was actually just a recreational boat. The gentleman's last name who purchased it was Erickson, and he had about 8 of these 4-masted Clipper-style sailing ships. 8 of these. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And he actually had a race in 1939. It was called the Great Grain Race, and the Moshulu actually won the Great Grain Race in 1939. Good job. And then it almost right after the Great Grain Race, it was in Finland. It was laid in dock in Finland, and this was at the outbreak of World War II. So in World War II, it was confiscated again by the Germans.
No way.
Yes, and the Germans used it as a floating warehouse. All the masts were removed. All the interiors of the ship was stripped basically down to nothing, and they used it as a floating warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can see that.
So
now how did it get from there to my wonderful dinner tonight with my wife for our 2-year anniversary?
okay, so
We have about 60 more years, 70 more years to tell us.
So
We got time.
after the Second World War was over, it laid where it was in Finland until the early 70s. It was in a museum in Finland in the 50s up until the 60s when it was back to dock. And then in 1971, the man who purchased the ship was an American restaurateur. He actually outbid Walt Disney for the ship.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so
Seriously?
Walt Disney wanted this boat to be one of the forefront attractions for what became Disney World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then 1971, and it was actually, while it was being brought over, was the same time they were filming The Godfather, and it was actually in The Godfather in the Hudson River, outside of the outside the Statue of Liberty. You can see.
Oh my God.
You can see young Vito on the boat coming over, and the boat that is across from him is the Moshulu.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now we need the boat's autograph. But alright, so I know that a lot of things are different, but you said this is not the original wheel.
This is not the original wheel, but this is the original mechanics and everything. They've obviously been passed over and painted over, but this is the original mechanics. These 2 wheels are not original. The original one is actually displayed downstairs, but this is the original chart house. So this is where they would map out their courses and everything else. This is where the captain would spend most of his time, obviously near the wheel, and in there planning out wherever it is they need to go on the DC.
Now, everything else on the boat, I mean, with the exception of like the restaurant and everything else, most of the ship is intact?
The hull of the ship is 93% intact. What that means is that the iron that the ship was built out of is still 90% intact. All of the rigging was redone in the early 1990s.
All of this?
All of this. The mast that you see here and behind me over here,
The crow's nest and everything?
yes, the crow's nest and everything.
Get up there. See that? It's all been redone.
Everything's been redone by master riggers. It's actually a dying art right now, so it's why it's really hard.
Would it be, is it to scale? Like, is it?
Oh yeah, this is absolutely to scale. It could not set sail today only because the masts are iron casting. They're not what the original ship would have been made out of.
I was going to ask you, so you can't just...
we are actually floating right now.
I know that, but
so
could you...
We could be towed somewhere. We can't actually put sails on here and sail away, but we could definitely be towed somewhere if we needed to go anywhere else. And that's actually what was done. When it was brought to Philadelphia in the late 1970s, it was down the river a little bit. This is the Delaware River over here.
Yes.
And it was down the Delaware River a little bit. And it was a night spot, a lighter fare menu, not the fine dining that we have now. And a fire actually destroyed the ship.
This ship?
This ship. In the
oh my God!
Yeah, in the late 70s. That was the first of two fires. So that fire was not as catastrophic as the one that happened in 1989. But after that fire in the late 1970s, a lot of the woodwork was redone on the surface over here on all the decks. Yeah,
all redone.
Yeah, this deck is the only one that would have actually been where it is right now. The other two decks that we serve food on, they would have been where the cargo holds would be. So everything would have been pulled down into that. Right. But yeah. So after the fire and after all the woodwork was redone, it was moved down the river a little bit, and we were actually up the river a little bit, not in our current location.
Okay.
So we were up the river a little bit more. And then in 1989, the ship was almost completely destroyed. Everything had to be gutted and redone by another fire.
It's terrible.
And the kitchen was moved from the bow of the ship to the stern.
Mm-hmm.
So from the back to the front.
Yeah. Bow, stern.
Bow, stern. Port, starboard.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So 1889, everything was redone. The main bar that you see downstairs, which is called our orchid room, all that was redone.
Is that where I was?
No, that's not where you were. If you go down in the lobby area, you'll see right behind the host stand, there's double doors on either side, and that's where the main bar is.
Okay.
The bongo bar is where you were located.
That's where I was, the bongo bar.
Yeah,
the DJ.
Bar.
By the way, DJ is the man. I'm telling you, give this guy a promotion.
DJ's good.
Not
one of the
best.
best.
He's blushing already. He's gonna be like, "Time, now I give this guy a promotion." And he's gonna, he's gonna do is he's gonna come to work and be like, "Give this guy a promotion. Give this guy a promotion. Give this guy a promotion." Anyway, but tell me about seriously, tell me about your chef, because again, the food is amazing. Who is your chef?
Our chef is Ralph Fernandez. He's been the chef since 2002. He studied in France, Italy.
I knew it was Italy.
And the Mediterranean. So all the dishes that are composed here are inspired by all that cuisine.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. So we offer what's called a contemporary. So we have everything from steaks and seafood to our lighter fare salads and burgers. We have just about everything.
Now, until you're told, like you said, this ship is where it's at.
This ship is where it's at. We don't plan on going anywhere else in the near future.
Okay, so someone like me, like for example, we're here, we covered Comic-Con, as you can see, and someone recommends another restaurant whose name we will not mention. And we stopped here only for a drink. We said, you're special $2 Coronas, by the way. Mm-hmm. Not every night, but, today's Monday, so check it out. And DJ was so good, and the food was so good, we said, I'm staying here. Now, if someone wants to contact you or come down to learn more about you guys, and first of all, I must say your knowledge of the ship is extremely impressive.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Serious.
Thank you.
So if someone wants to learn more about you and says, I'm coming to Philly, where can I eat? Is there a website?
There is a website. Our website is Moshulu.com. That's MOSHULU.com, and on there you can find everything I just told you about the ship, as well as our menu descriptions, our contact information, where we're located, everything else will be found on that website. It's Moshulu.com, MOSHULU.
And by the way, we will take that website and link it to ours.
Appreciate that.
At peoplekeepsitreal.com. We have a section called Friends of People Keeps It Real. We will put it on there. And now, forgive me, because this is my first time here. You are located in Penn's.
We are located on Penn's Landing.
Penn's Landing.
Penn's Landing.
I'm thinking. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
Penn's Landing.
So, if you're in Philadelphia, you're going to see a lot of William Penn everywhere. This is Penn's Landing.
Penn's Landing. There you go. I want to thank you for your hospitality, for your generosity, for giving us the time to talk to us, for the knowledge of the ship, and tell the owner, I'll take it.
We'll see what we can do about that. It was my pleasure.
Sure, it's my pleasure.